Okay, I'll look to my clerk for a roll call.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have all members in attendance at council today with a few exceptions. Councillor Bell sends his regrets with alternate councillor David Snutch in attendance. Deputy Warden Coughlin sends her regrets with alternate councillor Anita Moore in attendance. Councillor Sondu sends his regrets with alternate councillor Jonathan Scott, also absent but expected to join us, and you have your quorum. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you. Is there anybody who needs to leave early today? Any danger? Yes, Councillor Norcross.
Thanks, Your Worship. 11 a.m., please.
11 a.m. Well, looking at the agenda, you might be safe this morning, but I shouldn't say that, should I?
I've heard that from others, Your Worship, and nobody wanted to jinx it, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No others? Okay, then I will look for Councillor Dolan to approve the agenda this morning.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by alternate councillor Anita Moore that the agenda for the March 12, 2024 meeting of County Council be approved.
Any questions on the agenda? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Do I have a disclosure of pecuniary interest by any member of council? And I'm not seeing any, and I see Councillor Scott has just joined us. Yeah. Presentations and deputations, none. Consent agenda. Councillor Burkett, if you would.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Norcross, that the Council Communications Proclamations February the 27th, 2024 to March the 11th, 2024 have been given due consideration be received.
Any questions arising from the consent? Not seeing any, so all in favor? Thank you. That is carried. Adoption of council minutes and confirmation of the Committee of the Whole report. So, Councillor Dolan.
Thank you, Worship. You surprised me on that one. So
yeah, it's usually the deputy warden.
Exactly. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor MacDonald that the following council minutes be confirmed and adopted, and Committee of the Whole reports be confirmed. County Council minutes, February 27th, 2024. Committee of the Whole report, February 27th, 2024. And Committee of the Whole confidential report, February 27th, 2024.
Okay, on the council minutes, any business arising? So all in favor? That is carried. I'll try and give you more of a heads up next time. So presentations and consideration of the Committee of the Whole report. So Councillor Cox, we'll start with performance.
Good morning. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Evans that the performance management recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report dated February 27th, 2024 be approved.
Any items to be pulled? Not seeing any, so all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Oh, we got some music this morning. That's nice. Next, I have Human Services, Councillor Leduc.
Thank you, Warden. Good morning, everyone. I have item 9.2 that the Human Services recommendation contained within the Committee of Whole report dated February 27, 2024 be approved. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor MacDonald.
Any items to be pulled from Human Services? Not seeing any, so all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And Committee of the Whole Corporate Services, Councillor Dole.
Thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Measures that the Corporate Services recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report, including the confidential item dated February the 27th, 2024, be approved with the exception of the delegated authority item.
Okay. Any items to be pulled from corporate? Not seeing any, so all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So we don't have any presentations or considerations this morning. For county officers' reports, motions which notice has been given, we have none. Notices of motion didn't get any, did we? No, we have none. Closed session, we have none. So the consideration of the bills. Councillor Norcross.
Thanks, Your Worship. Through you. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Burkett, that bills number 705824, 705924, 706024, 706124, 706224, and 706324 be enacted as bylaws of the County of Simcoe.
Any questions arising from the bylaws? Concerns not seeing any, so all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So we are on with announcements now. So there must be lots going on here. Spring's upon us. Nothing. It's been unusually quiet, I must say. So, no, I don't have any announcements myself either. So, confirmatory bylaw, Councillor Norcross.
Thanks, Your Worship. Through you, moved by myself, second by Councillor Measures, that bill number 706424 be enacted as a bylaw of the County of Simcoe.
On the bylaw, all in favor? That is carried. And lastly, that the March 12, 2024 meeting of County Council be adjourned at 9:08 a.m. Boy, oh boy. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Norris. All in favor? That is carried. So we'll just give a few minutes. Thanks, Doug, if you'd bring in our city reps.
I don't blame you. Ink's expensive. Besides, that's trees. We're saving trees. Okay, I got that done. There we go. Phew. Yikes. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, I think everybody's settled in. If call the meeting to order again and welcome city reps. I'll look for, I guess I better get an attendance first. And you, Jonathan?
Thank you, Your Worship. In addition to those in attendance at council, alternate councillor Jonathan Scott has joined us. And for the city representatives, we have regrets from Aurelia Councillor Durnford, Aurelia Councillor Fallis is in attendance, regrets from Barrie Councillor Hamilton, Aurelia Mayor McIsaac is in attendance, Barrie Councillor Nagusi is in attendance, regrets from Barrie Mayor Nuttall, and Barrie Councillor Rietman is also in attendance. Thanks, Warden. You have your quorum.
Thank you. So I'll look for approval of the agenda. Councillor Dolan, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by alternate Councillor Snatch, that the agenda for the March 12, 2024 Committee of the Whole be approved.
Questions arising from the agenda? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Do I have a disclosure of pecuniary interest for any member of council? If you find yourself in that situation, then please declare it at the time. Presentations and delegations, we have none. So we'll right on to Human Services with Chair Leduc.
Thank you again, Warden. We're on to Section 5. We welcome the city reps. We're at 5.1, the CCW 2024-069 is interdivisional full-time equivalents transfers. Questions, concerns with this report? There's no financial impact to us, so Councillor Fallis.
Thanks. Just to clarify, this is 5.1, correct?
Yes,
okay.
5.1.
Yeah, I did have a question just regarding the one position, moving it from, it was a full-time position from social housing to business intelligence and system planning. And I'm just wondering if staff could provide a bit more detail of why that is. It did seem unusual to me that we wouldn't need these types of positions in these two departments. So any additional information would be helpful. Thanks.
Through you.
Through the chair, thank you for the question, Councillor Fallis. The Business Intelligence and Policy Development Division does two things: collects data and then develops policy across the division. We had policy positions sitting in each of our different departments, and what we're trying to do is have a common voice, a common set of policies, a set of standard operational procedures. So we're asking is those staff resources just be under one direction, under a new directorate that we created last year. So that policy position is going from housing into the general department that's going to cover all policy, but it would be serving specifically housing, as it is a subject matter expert for housing.
Okay. Thank you. Mina, thank you very much for that explanation. Any further comments or questions? So seeing none, I'll have it moved by Councillor Follis, if you're okay, and then I'll ask alternate Councillor David, is it Snutch, if I, thank you, to second it? Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. On to 5.2, it's Human Services, Long-Term Care, Committee of Management. So I have a 6.1 CCW 2024-074 Long-Term Care Quality Improvement Plans for 2024-2025. Questions, concerns with this? All right, seeing none, who can I have it moved by? Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Fryer. That item, CCW 2024-074, dated March 12, 2024, regarding long-term care quality improvement plans 2024 to 2025, be received, and that the warden and clerk be authorized to sign the County of Simcoe's long-term care quality improvement plans. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. We are now on to 6.2, CCW 2024-075, the base funding for community services. Questions or concerns with this one? At this point in time, seeing none, I'll have it moved by Barrie Councillor Ripma, seconded by Councillor Van Stravern. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. We are into 7.1, other matters of consideration. Any matters of consideration this time? See, or 7.1, Affordable Housing Advisory Committee report. Do I have a mover to second to put this on the floor? Moved by Councillor McClellan, seconded by Councillor Laux. Question, concerns with this report? Councillor Snell.
Thank you. Through the chair. As a member of this committee, I feel that one issue in particular is becoming a threat to a long-term successful outcome when it comes to obtainable purpose-built rental units being available on market. And it's mentioned on page 5 of this report, and that is the current state of the landlord-tenant board in our province. While I recognize that majority of tenants are folks who are responsible, they pay their rent on time and they take care of their home as if it was their own, but there is also sadly a segment of that are professional tenants. They work this dysfunctional system to their benefit, going months without paying rent and or causing significant damages to property, leaving the landlord in financial mess and potential ruin. In its current operational state, it is taking most times up to 8 months for a meeting at the board. Compared to other provinces, Ontario is highly tenant favored, and this significant delay in getting in front of adjudicator is extremely impactful to not only the sustainability, but also more importantly, the growth of purpose-built and available rental housing in our province and our county. As we know as well, this corporation is a significant landholder. With over 4,000 units, we are landlord to thousands of residents in our region. As a county, we are also asked to provide financial incentives to residents to build a basement suite at obtainable rent. How our homeowners can take that risk when they don't have a system that protects them? The province is potentially incentivizing the private building sector to get involved in the solution by providing purpose-built, obtainable rentals. If you were an investor, would you choose the challenges currently faced in our province, or would you build west, where the LTB is more balanced and faster responding? I can't help but to feel that this inequity across the country will influence private sector investing in our province. Therefore, I'm asking that this House directs GM Fayez Baguette to work with his team to look at options to advocate with OMA and other related provincial boards to see what can be brought forward to the provincial level to address these vital concerns as it relates to the Landlord-Tenant Board in Ontario. And I will look to our clerk for guidance in how to proceed with this request, please.
Mr. Chair, so I do have the wording of a motion that Councillor Snell would like to put forward, but you do have it moved by Councillor McClellan and seconded by Councillor Laux to approve the recommendations from the report. I'd suggest you do that first, and then we can come back to an additional motion requesting staff report back.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say that would have to come back. We'll do the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee report first, and then we'll come back to your issue for under other matters of consideration. Okay, so I did have the mover and seconder for the report on the affordable housing. Any further questions or comments on that? There is 059. I'll just say all in favor if we're good. No questions or concerns? Thank you. Okay, so now we'll go back to other matters of consideration, and we'll go back to Mr. Clerk, that motion that you're going to put on the floor for.
Yeah.
Councillor Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we're still on 7.1. My understanding is this motion here is related to the report that came forward, and this is an additional clause. And the motion that I believe Councillor Snell would like to move is that staff report back on how to engage the province and fellow service managers in making changes to the landlord-tenant board process to increase efficiency of hearings in an effort to incentivize increased affordable housing and rental stock development. And you need that moved and seconded if it's to be put on the floor. Mr. Chair, thanks.
Okay, so moved by Councillor Snell, seconded by Councillor Smith. Question, concerns on this motion? Councillor Dolan?
Thank you. I can support this motion, and thank you for bringing it forward, Councillor Snell. It is, I know we've heard a lot about renovictions and about the side that the significant challenges that the tenants face on things like renovictions. I've had a woman call me saying that there was a basement apartment in a house that the owner said he would move her up on the list if she would be his friend. So there's lots of things going on that shouldn't be going on in the landlord-tenant space, and the earlier we can get them fixed, the better for everyone. On the other side of it, I also know farmers that rent significant amounts of land that all have a farmhouse on it, and they're all sitting vacant because they just don't want to have to deal with the issue of tenants. They've been burned before, so they would rather have those homes sitting empty than housing people. So I can support this motion, and thanks, Councillor Snell.
Thank you. Councillor Dolan. Councillor Follis.
Thanks. Through the chair, and I do want to say I'm not very well educated on this particular subject, but my understanding is that I certainly recognize that there are a lot of challenges at the LTB. I think, and certainly that there are some pretty bad horror stories. I think to just focus on the problems of the LTB is kind of too scoped in, that there's greater issues here, that it's being often used as the only option for renters as a way to ensure that they have some affordability maintained within their property. And so not the LTB itself, but the delays associated. And so I think we have to, my personal thinking is that we need to, this letter shouldn't just be about the LTB itself and accelerating it. It should be about providing more affordable housing generally, ensuring that these types of issues aren't, that, you know, you're addressing this issue, but at the same time, you're also addressing the greater issue, which is ensuring that these individuals have a there's more available stock in the market. Thanks.
All right, thank you for those comments. Further comments or concerns? Manager, General Manager, will you comment on that?
Yeah, through the chair, thank you, Council Files. I would say that, advocating on change in the LTB is one good impact on affordability. As we're seeing as just as a landlord, 10 years ago, we didn't have these type of delays. So the system can work. It just needs to be kind of raised, the issue that the way it's set up right now is it's precluding people who are waiting for affordable housing to get into the most deepest subsidized affordable housing available for those who are often no longer eligible for affordable housing that are holding those units. So that's one factor. Secondarily, I think concurrently, we can also advocate and incentivize, figure out different ways, and this 10-year strategy where the report back on the 10-year strategy at committee. This report discusses our 10-year, approach to how do we create more affordability, which certainly includes incentivizing private-public partnerships, developments, creating more units in the system. But similarly, we have to protect the system we already have from being stagnant and not available to those who need it the most. So I think any strategy would have a concurrent approach for sure.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll ask for all in favor. All right, carried. Thank you. I'll turn it back to you, Warden.
Okay, thank you, and thank the city reps for coming down. That was an important issue that we needed some support on, so thank you with that. I will turn it over to Councillor Dolan, Chair Dolan, for consent.
Thank you, Worship. So we're on item 8, which is corporate services consent. We have 2 consent items. We have 8.1, which is the County of Simcoe Transit status update for 2023, and we have 8.2, which is the Simcoe County Forest Annual Report from 2023. Did anyone want to pull or speak to any of those 2 items? Councillor Hamlin?
Thank you, Chair. I just had I'd like to pull the County of Simcoe Transit status update. Thank you.
Thank you. Then can I have a mover and a seconder, please, to pass the Simcoe County Forestry Annual Report? Moved by Councillor Mike Smith, seconded by Councillor Proust. All those in favor? That is carried. And now we'll go to the transit item. Councillor Hamlin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a question for staff, and I'm obviously in support of this update. The transit system is moving along, just as we hope it would be. But my question is, the routes that are listed, there's 6 routes, and there's a ridership shown on all of the routes on page 2. By far, the most popular route in terms of riders is the route that goes from Collingwood to Wasaga Beach to Barrie. By more than double the closest, which is Route 2. Oh, I see. Anyway, my question is this. There's a lot of people traveling, I'll just say, from Collingwood, Wasaga Beach, even town of Blue Mountains and Clearview through to Barrie. And I'm just wondering at what stage over the next 5-year update will we have a chance to look at whether additional routes would be added or even direct routes from Collingwood and area? Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Elliott?
Thank you. And through the chair, as noted in the report, we are actually in the early days of initiating our next 5-year review, and we are working with all of those local municipalities that have made requests for service connections and things like that. So we won't be able to solve everybody's requirements or requests for service, but we're certainly going to have that outreach and look at what options make sense and bring forward recommendations to council later in the year.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this report? Seeing none, could I ask for a mover, Councillor Hamlin, and a seconder, Councillor Scott, alternate Councillor Scott. Now I have to find where I am again. Just to receive the Simcoe County Transit 2023 status update. All those in favor? That's carried. Next, we're on to item number 9, Corporate Services Engineering, 9.1, which is the request for temporary traffic signals, County Road 4, Line 9, and County Road 4, Line 12 in Bradford, West Gwillimbury. Comments or questions on this report? Seeing none, all those mover and seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Fryer, seconded by Councillor Evans. All those in favor? That's carried. Are there any other matters for consideration this morning for corporate services? Seeing none, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Chair Dolan. I'll look for Chair Cox for performance management now.
Okay, 11.1, the request to the province to revise the Occupational Health and Safety Act to clarify the definition of employer. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Fowler, second by Councillor Brian Smith. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Oh, sorry, other matters for consideration. Seeing none.
Thank you, Chair. So I'll look to a closed session. Does anybody need to go in for closed session? There is a report there. Any need? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so it's pretty straightforward. So then I would move on to the motion. The direction in camera and recommendations contained within confidential item CCW 2024-048 dated March 12, 2024 regarding a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land be approved and voted upon in accordance with section 239(6)B of the Municipal Act. Moved by Councillor Fowler, second by Councillor Rawson. All in favor? That is carried. So we didn't have to, I guess we're on to adjournment, that the March 12, 2024 Committee of the Whole be adjourned at 9:27. Boy, there's one. We even had transit on there. I thought we'd push it on a little bit, folks. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Anderson. All in favor? That is carried. We do have economic development after. Is it in here, Jonathan? So call the chair. What do you think? 15 minutes, quarter to 9:45. Perfect. Thank you, everybody.